What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Franchise Unpacked. My name is Zach.
And my name's Dave.
And today, okay, I just gotta be candid with all of you. So today, Dave and I happened upon a topic that neither of us were really too familiar with, but it worked out.
Okay, you're giving it even more benefit of the doubt than I have. Literally zero knowledge of. I take that back. I have some knowledge, mostly of the film, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, the topic today. We are doing Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes,
which was an important distinction that Zach made to me, told me over the weekend. Thankfully.
Yeah. I texted Dave. I was like, "Hey, we're doing Avatar," and then I thought about it for a minute. I was like not the blue one.
Yeah, I was like, there's only one movie. I know it's a franchise technically, but okay.
Yeah.
But luckily, because Zach and I don't have much knowledge of this particular topic, we have a guest today.
Yeah, so here all the way from sunny Los Angeles, I would like to welcome Adam Johns.
What up?
What is going on, Adam? Thank
Yo.
you for coming on the show, man.
Yo, I'm happy to unpack with you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do some unpacking.
So, and this is, for anyone listening, this is probably going to be a little bit of a different structure than normal, because this is a much more, I feel like, conversational piece, just given
We're me asking a lot of questions, I think, is going to be the...
So, I mean, I guess I kind of want to just start with, before we dive into any facts, like sort of the round robin question that we like to do. So we'll start with me and Dave because I feel like it'll be less interesting.
Yeah,
we want to leave the interesting stuff to the pro. But so Dave, what was your first Avatar experience?
It came out in 2005, so I was a junior in high school at the time. I really wasn't watching. I mean, Dragon Ball Z, the couple years prior, like that was my anime and like animated kind of stuff going on. But I really never watched an episode of the TV show. I had friends who were fans of it. And then I heard about when the movie came out by M. Night Shyamalan, that all the news surrounding that. And we'll get into that.
Heard that. Wish I didn't hear that.
Yeah, right. What about you, Zach?
So for me, I think, Adam, you were actually the one that got me to watch it in the first place. Because I had heard so many great things about Avatar, and I think, when did Korra come out? Legend of Korra?
Yeah, a couple of years. I want to say 2013.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I think they said 2012 to 2014.
Because I think that's what sparked me watching Avatar, because I remember you were talking about Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I want to know I want to know this story. I want to know the history of it all, whatever. So I went back and I started watching Avatar, and I didn't make it super far, not out of not enjoying it. It was just one of those things where I was also like super into Scrubs and Adventure Time at the time. So I was like, my attention was a bit divided. But no, I mean, I really dug it though. And that's, for me, I know it's not, I mean, depending on who you ask, it's not technically an anime, but it kind of is. I was never like a huge anime fan. So that was kind of my first real step into that world. And if anybody listening, if you don't consider it anime, then forgive me. But
it was praised for its art direction. So I think that like the anime was definitely a strong influence, but it was cool that they were able to incorporate other animating styles.
Yeah.
But what about your history with it, Adam? Where'd you get hooked onto it?
So when it was on television, I did not watch it.
Okay.
I did not watch it.
Really?
Netflix streaming hit me with it.
Oh, okay.
My girlfriend at the time was like, "Yo, Adam, you gotta watch this," and we binged the whole thing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. I mean, just an incredible show, guys. Guys, watch it.
Guys, okay.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it.
I know, and that's the thing is like, I wanted to. We sort of realized on a time crunch when Adam was going to be here, so we were like, "Oh man, we don't have our normal amount of time to like sit and binge through these things." But I was like, "We got to do this anyway, though, because it's something we've wanted to tackle for a while." And it was funny too, because when I asked Adam before, I was like, what episode do you want to be on when you're in town?
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
like an immediate text back. It was Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like,
Okay.
no question.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
So what? I mean, what kind of drew you into the show? Like, what was the thing that made you
Besides
have
your
to binge it?
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, for a kids show, it was tackling some rather adult themes. It kind of lures you in with the first season with Aang, and he's like all bubbly and kid-like, and then it gets really dark in the second season. And
Really?
you're like, oh my god! Even at the end of the first season, you're like, oh man, this is awesome. And I mean, it did the anti-hero thing probably the best.
You think so?
Like out of like anything in recent memory I can think of, like Zuko is like Zuko, Dante Bosco voiced him, who did Rufio, who's
okay.
also another.
Wait, that's Rufio?
That's Rufio. Who's an amazing anti-hero himself. So
yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
so like that drew me into the show. I heard his voice and like instantly,
You're like, is that Rufio?
I was like, that's Rufio.
That's a lost
Also,
boy.
if you guys can hear that outside, somebody decided to rev their engine as loud as they could.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't pick up. But last week we had a lawnmower. This
Yep,
week we got
can't escape it.
Got Hot Rod Johnny out there.
Hot Rod Johnny.
My
Johnny
Uber's
Bunch.
here too early.
Gotta go. But yeah, no, and based off your description of especially like kind of the first season, during the research I did, a little bit of like the history of the show, from what I understand, it starts 100 years prior to what's going on. The idea is a little, from what I understand, being an avatar, you're able to control all four.
Yes.
There are certain benders. You got your airbenders, your
Right,
earthbender,
right.
all that, waterbender. But if you're the avatar, who's kind of like the one, it sounds like,
yes.
the chosen one,
Yes.
you can control all four and you're like a god. But when the avatar passes away, it is passed on to a new person.
Right.
And
Much
that
like
is our
Buffy.
story.
Buffy the Vampire
Yeah,
Slayer.
exactly.
Much like
I've
that.
actually
yeah.
never seen Buffy.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I need to.
Buffy's-
I've heard good things. Well,
The original movie with Donald Sutherland, very good.
and it was funny too
Yeah,
because in my research I found out that Avatar actually derives from Sanskrit, and it means those who descend.
Yes.
So I was like, that's kind of, I don't know, I think it's cool. And I noticed a lot of that when I was doing my research. There's a lot of language references and a lot of culture references
Yeah.
that
Eastern
kind of-
study almost. That reincarnation, kind of karmatic effects, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I have like a kind of a random list here of, a lot of fun facts. But Adam, I was going to see if you could sort of take us through a little bit of the past of the franchise. Like what, we have a few things here too, but like what do you see as the strongest points of the past in this franchise?
So like by the past you mean like just like
It's like
the
the original trilogy or the original 3 seasons, just of the TV show.
So yeah, the coolest thing, one of the coolest things about this show is it was like a stomping grounds for like one of the like biggest animation people around, like Dave Filoni, who took over Star Wars animation and became George Lucas's best bud.
Really?
Yes.
Helped with season 1.
And
didn't
he's
know that.
doing Resistance right now.
Yeah.
I think that's his show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew that name.
And he's directing like a Mandalorian episode. Like he's the golden boy for Lucas.
Is he
right
the
now.
dude who always has the cowboy hat on?
Yeah. He
Yes.
is.
Okay. There's always a guy, whenever they go to Lucasfilms, there's like, I got a cowboy hat. But like, you're not a cowboy.
That's cowboy
and
hat.
even
That's him.
along
Dave.
those same lines, one of the co-creators, I guess, left Family Guy to go work on Avatar. Like,
Yeah.
Which that would have been a scary career move.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean, because think about that was when Family
it
Guy
is
was at
true.
their height. Like,
And
Yeah.
and it's like in Family Guy, I think the contract that Seth MacFarlane must have with Fox is he could probably do and say anything on that
yeah,
network, and
yeah.
they cannot. He basically is the CEO now.
I mean, the Orville
Yeah.
was apparently going to be a Star Trek show.
Yeah.
And then CBS wouldn't do it, so he took it to Fox and like, yeah, we'll make it, even though it's pretty much Star Trek.
it's like,
yeah.
do you guys want me to take Family Guy away again? Don't do it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's interesting though that you're saying a lot of. So was it like the animators or like the writers or just kind of
So like directors, producers, so like the Dragon Prince, I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. Netflix like took all these people essentially.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like Netflix has the Dragon Prince, and then what is it? The
Are they doing their own like animation studio now? Like the Netflix and like Pixar, they have their own.
Well,
like,
they're definitely collecting people.
Okay, yeah.
For sure.
That's what they do.
Like Disenchantment, Matt Groening. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, they're collecting people for
Yes.
sure.
Which that was another one, not to go off topic, but I still
Right.
haven't seen Disenchantment.
Season 2's about, or they just announced that it's
yeah.
in
I
production
mean,
right now.
episode 3 is when it starts to hit with
Okay.
Disenchantment. I highly recommend it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they had so Voltron was another thing that from this creative team,
Yes.
like they did. So I mean, and that's all like Netflix. So it's like
Right.
the thing about Avatar is it was the early days of Netflix streaming. So I feel like Netflix is like, yo, thank you.
And
Because it was
Netflix
the
has
only
been-
way to see it.
They've been very smart about that. I mean, it sucks when they lose shows, but I feel like Netflix is taking over with their. I mean, between Netflix and HBO Go with their original programming,
Well, Disney, as soon as Disney Plus hits the market in November, there's going to be
that's
a
true.
huge. I think all of media is going to change as we know it.
Yeah.
Your cable plans aren't going to exist anymore.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's going to
It's-
be
I
the
agree.
nail in the
It's
coffin.
kind of freaky, but that is funny. We brought up Netflix, and this is a little into the future of the franchise, but there has been a live remake that will not be whitewashed announced for Netflix.
Yeah, from
Really?
the,
A
from
live
the
action
same
series.
creators. Yeah, same
creators.
Oh, a series, not a
series,
not a movie.
Nope, a series for
Interesting.
Netflix, and one of the biggest things they couldn't stress enough was it will not be whitewashed,
Yeah.
which the movie
Yeah.
was in 2010. But so and another thing for those of you like myself who don't know a lot about the Benders, they described it as a form of like Tai Chi, yoga, and martial arts to
Yeah,
summon
yeah.
their abilities or to be able to use their abilities. So it's kind of cool. They're bringing in more of that, like, that Eastern traditions and stuff. And I also realized that there's Inuit was another large group that a lot of that Eskimo and Inuit like kind of styling, which I thought was really neat. Is that you don't get to see a lot
Well,
of that.
and you, I mean, you can tell just from looking at one still frame from that show, like that's. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Is it didn't feel like just an anime with Japanese culture.
No.
It felt like a mix. Like there were anime aspects to it, sure.
Yeah.
But it was American culture, which is a hodgepodge anyway. But there was Japanese culture. There was these other Eastern culture, just all sort of twisted and melded into one, and none of them felt. I don't know, to my eye anyway, none of them felt like they were sort of being, I don't know, done injustice. They all felt like they were being acknowledged properly and being used in a respectful way.
For sure.
Now, I think, and kind of piggybacking off that, Nickelodeon, and we mentioned Disney, these kind of companies, I think, especially now or in the last 20 years, have really kind of fleshed that out. Like, it is not only the inclusion of everyone, but the respectful. And it's even like, no matter how many times you might have seen Avatar, you might have watched every season 3-4 times or whatever. You might pick something up and be like, oh, wow, look at that poster there or something on they drew in,
Right.
or that like sign or that art style. That's something new that I would never guess, but it was derived from like Japanese art style or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, had your ex-girlfriend seen all of them before?
Yeah,
She got you
yeah.
into it.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so you just binged hard.
Binged hard
Do
on
you
that.
watch them annually, kind of, or every now and then? Do you just throw an episode on? What's that like?
I do watch them annually. That and Korra.
Now, is it one you can throw on an episode, like kind of like I know, like we mentioned Futurama, those are so
Yeah, yeah.
disjointed,
Right,
they can
right.
kind of like each episode's whatever. But it seems there's definitely more of a through line.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to go back to that first season because you're like, Aang, you should know better. Like, it's just like,
Stop it.
because there's so much growth with all these characters
Right.
in Zuko. So when you go back, it is, of course, a little tough, but watching that journey all the way through is quite incredible.
The first season, was it a lot of him like, oh, I'm 100 years old? Do you thought it's kind of like the Austin Powers effect of like, I got to learn my way?
Yeah,
How's the world changed?
Evacuation complete.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's a
love that.
fish out of water, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the people, the air nomads, were his people, were completely wiped out, genocide style.
yeah.
And then that's when right after he ran away,
Yeah.
I guess. So it's kind of his fault if you think about it.
No, it is.
It's totally his fault.
It is his fault.
He inherited his
Interesting,
power,
yeah.
got freaked out by it, ran off with his big bison that kind of looks like Falcor.
Which
Kinda looks like a fat
I
Falcor cat.
love.
Yeah.
I love the animals in that show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that sort of like fantasy, like, oh, I just love it.
It reminded me of an anime, and I can't, not Naruto. maybe not Princess Mononoke, but like a lot. There were whoever did those movies. Always had like big animal, like larger than life animals,
like My Neighbor Totoro.
Yes,
Yes.
Totoro. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Adam's
Like
the guy to go to with
A
this.
cat bus, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is a giant, no one's bothered by it, but it's a giant house-sized
almost
cat.
like
Yeah.
almost like a miniature kaiju.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's not full Godzilla style, which we got to do a part 2 of Godzilla. We're going to talk about it in the mini-sode, which will probably be out by the time you're hearing this. But we got oh gosh, you guys, I'm mad.
He's mad about it. But that's an interesting thing too. How you mentioned kaiju's in Japanese culture, and I might be going out on a limb here, so people please fire off those angry missiles if I'm wrong. But there is especially now, there's this large culture of cute. That they really embrace the culture of cute. Mm-hmm. So it's these, instead of like a giant lizard monster destroying the city, we've got a giant friendly cat that like follows you around. So it's like kind of replacing one thing for the other, with a Hello Kitty. But
No, Appa is MVP for sure.
Yeah.
There's a whole episode that follows Appa, and it's like silent, and it's like scored beautifully, and it just follows Appa.
Well, and speaking of the score, one thing that I found that I thought was really interesting is there's almost a Simpsons couch gag equivalent in each intro. Like the melody changes at the end of each intro, which I thought that's something that you don't see a lot. Like normally you'll see a visual gag because that's easy. The animators are doing new animations every week anyway.
Right.
But I feel like
a bunch of recording artists.
That's tough to get that much.
And is it poignant? Is that musical change for a reason, or does it like hint at anything, or is it?
I think it does borrow from the themes in the show.
It's like whatever's going on in that episode. There was
like
one.
that.
I'm blanking on the character's name, but like there was a character that had a very specific theme, and her theme played at the end of the melody. So it was like it kind of like melds in what's going to be happening.
Could have been like Toph or something.
Now, we're kind of like, we've discussed the original series, the 3 seasons, which did finish. They did end it, correct?
Yeah.
There was a definitive ending to it.
Yeah, I heard they wanted one more season though.
That's what I was reading. I was like, did they just not get? And then it was one of the situations they just wrap it up. But M. Night Shyamalan got the rights, and then 2010 the American action adventure fantasy film.
Okay, so I'm looking at the faces here, and
he wrote, co-produced, and directed it, and I think that's an incredibly important note to make. That
sure did.
How horrifying of a movie this apparently was. Now, have you seen it, Adam? Did you watch it?
I saw it. Indeed, I did. I went to the midnight screening.
Oh,
I was dressed as Aang, or as M. Night calls it, Ong. I had the arrow on my forehead. Me and my girlfriend at the time were dressed up like Aang. And
wow.
Question: what is the arrow significance? Is it just?
It's the Air Nomad's sign.
It's just their symbol.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So what was your? Because from what I've heard and what I've read and what I've seen and what I've felt cosmically, is that this movie is just trash.
It is touted as one of the worst movies ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to fit season 1 into a movie.
Yeah.
That's 22 episodes or however much.
And Dave, you were saying it was whitewashed then. I'm assuming
It was severely whitewashed. There were a lot of and why I mean that is where there should be any actor or actresses of any other ethnicity. Like, say if you cast Emma Stone as Mulan.
Right.
People would be very upset. That doesn't make
sense.
any sense. Yeah. So this was super whitewashed. The main the boy who was Aang or Ong, not an actor. No acting experience.
Wait, what?
He filmed himself doing karate, sent it to M. Night Shyamalan, and he cast him.
Yeah.
So there's all you have to do to get cast?
The only famous. There are 2 famous people on this list that I recognize. There's Dev Patel, who is of Slumdog Millionaire.
Okay.
He is, the main character, titular character. Yeah. And then Asif Manvi was also in this film, who was a Daily Show correspondent at the time.
What?
Yeah, he's a hilarious...
What a weird...
Yeah, Middle Eastern comedian and correspondent of the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
What?
Yes.
Okay, so...
And he was the bad guy, one of the bad guys, the Fire Clan, I think, the head of the Fire. I can look up his character.
I don't remember who he was, but Dev Patel was Zuko, and that going in, I was a big fan of Skins. So I was like, oh, Dev Patel, let's hit me with it.
It won 4 of the 8 Golden Razzies awards.
Oh no!
including and then one of the actors in it. One second, I thought this was really funny. He won worst supporting actor for this movie and also for the Twilight Saga. He was in both, and he's won. So he is a 2-time winner of it. But yeah, no, it is.
So then, what was your
bad.
reaction? I mean, being such a huge fan of the series, what was your reaction to being in that theater?
It was so fast. I had whiplash severely. The effects were incredible because it was industrial light and magic.
Oh yeah, that's
okay,
George
yeah.
Lucas,
And it was just like, great, cool. Effects are great. But it was so fast. The names being Sokka and Aang really just destroyed me inside.
Did everybody in the movie mispronounce the names?
I believe so. I try to block it out. Yeah.
I listened to a couple podcasts today reviewing the movie, and they were just trouncing it on How Did This Get Made? One of my favorite movie ones. And then We Hate Movies on HeadGum Network. But they were talking about how you were, like you said, cramming all this information into like a 2-hour film.
For sure.
And it was all this history, and they played a clip, and it was the little girl talking about, like, my grandfather was killed by this in the war of this, who then my father avenged. And they're like, guys, the whole movie is 2 hours of that.
Yeah.
Just over-explaining dead-eyed actors, just not good, like this main boy, just not a good actor.
Yeah.
And like
Not an actor.
Yeah, not an actor. And then just shoving it, almost, they described it as like some almost montage sequences of them like going from town to town.
Yeah.
But like it was just real weird.
Well, and that seems to be a big downfall that's I feel like has been happening a lot lately.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in the minisode about Godzilla. I'm upset, but there's a lot of like exposition vomit where they want to get all of their point across in the first movie. Did I say across with a T? I think I just did. Oh man, the Midwestern's coming out.
And another thing is, they couldn't name it Avatar: The Last Airbender because James Cameron already had the name Avatar locked down.
Sure did.
So they're like, well, we just have to call it the Last Airbender, just a little title to it. So
Wait, so just because it was a movie instead of a TV show, it couldn't really?
Yeah, they couldn't use the title Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Well, that's like I don't want to butcher the name pronunciations here, but there's a character Katara.
Yeah.
Is that I got
Katara,
it right?
yeah, you
Katara.
got it,
Okay.
yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen this show, guys. Well, her character was actually originally named Kia, which I thought was
like
interesting.
A Kia, like the car.
And that wasn't the reason they had to change it. They had to change it because there was already a video game out that was like, it looked like a shovelware game. I mean, I didn't really look too far into it, but it was called like The Adventures of Kia or something.
Oh, wow.
That's
And
weird.
so the team was like, their team of lawyers was like, nope, you're changing the name. We don't want any legal issues by the time this comes out.
All right.
Like
that seems a little, for a character name,
Yeah,
it seems a
yeah.
little excessive.
So
but,
funny.
And yeah, what is now, you guys had touched on it a little bit, but after the terrible film was made, the animated sequel series started, The Legend of Korra.
Yes.
Now, was that the same? Was it Nickelodeon? Was it the same team?
Yeah, Nickelodeon. I would say most of the same team. I mean, most of the people from the original team kind of left.
Yeah.
Because it was so long after.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, excellent show. But the next Avatar.
Would it be? Is it darker? Do you like it better than the original series, or?
It's tough. Season 2 is kind of very mixed. They went in thinking they only had one season, so they did season 1 as like kind of a contained thing.
Sure.
And they're like, hey, guess what? There's a lot of people want to see more.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
no duh. Like,
So then where does Legend of Korra sort of pick up, leave off?
Because from what I understand in the original series, spoiler alert, world peace is starting to. They're trying to instill it. It has been.
Yes.
The dude had his powers stripped, and the fire dude.
Yeah, Ozai. Yeah. So what happens is Aang lived a pretty long life and then died, and then Korra becomes a little baby Avatar.
So like 100 years later, or 80 some odd years later.
Yeah, and it's like the 1920s. It looks like
cool.
And like
That's
Aang,
interesting.
Aang made like an island, like it's called like Avatar Island, and like a lot of people live there, and it's a metropolis. So there's cars, and it's 1920s inspired,
Nice.
and it looks so cool. But yeah, Korra is definitely so much different than Aang. She's like a rebellion. She like mastered most of the black powers pretty early.
Okay.
Other than air, that's like her big thing. So we're kind of not retreading throughout.
Sure.
Because like Aang was just like learning elements. Like that was what he was
Right.
doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
of
the
show.
hero's path.
Yeah.
She's already got the power.
Yeah, Korra's like a prodigy. She already kind of has fire and everything. Like she's a
That's
waterbender.
really smart.
Now,
That is
how
really cool.
involved is Korra in the main series?
Not she doesn't exist.
Doesn't
Yeah,
exist at all. So
she
there's
wouldn't be born yet.
There's no, but there's no
born
like
yet.
nod to it. There's no like future.
Just
Well,
saying
they
there
didn't-
will be
they
another
didn't.
Avatar.
Yeah, eventually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was no. Really.
That's
Okay.
a really brilliant way, especially if you don't want to just strap yourself to the one character.
Yeah.
It's a nice, because you can always go back to that character, because
Right.
like you said, it's like, oh, he lived for a long time. There, God knows there were plenty
So
of
then
adventures.
is it something where you have to watch all of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh my god, yeah.
To watch Korra.
The amount of
help.
Okay.
characters that are in it, like there's so many beautiful moments in Korra from like that get paid like that start in the first show.
Right.
And it's just like they hit you with them, and I'm not gonna spoil them for you because like they're so beautiful. But like, yeah, like you get to see Aang as an adult, like because
Oh,
there's
cool.
like she has flashbacks because
Oh,
she
that is
has
cool.
their memories. She has all of the Avatar's collective memories.
Oh.
So like you get to see an adult Aang, and you're like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Bruce
that's
Willis.
Like, that's like in
awesome.
it's like in Adventure Time. Whenever you get to see like adult Finn, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
it's like sort of that like I don't know, like this gut feeling of I don't know, almost like pride in these characters that you've fallen in love with.
Well, I love the idea that it's like, I've, like you said, fallen in love with these characters. It's like with Star Wars, once the extended universe books came out, I'm like, yeah, they're still having adventures. Unless they
Right.
like everybody died in the last minute. You're like, you are still
Hanging up
you're
my
telling me
lightsaber.
there's no more strife in the galaxy, like that sort of a thing.
Right.
It's like
Right.
there's going to be issues, and that's always fun too. Especially when like 15 years later, that main character kind of walks back in just briefly. You're like, hell yeah, he's
yeah.
still kicking ass.
Yeah, yeah.
So while we're sort of in this, present of the franchise, I wanted to really quickly touch on the video games.
I heard there was a really popular one.
In 2014, I believe was the popular one.
Yeah.
And it looked beautiful. That one
Korra,
did.
the Korra game,
I think so. Yeah.
like
yeah,
Platinum Games.
yeah. It looked beautiful. All of the other games that I saw, though,
Looked like garbage.
they looked awful.
Yeah, because
It
I was trying to weed through it to find the awesome looking one. I'm like, which one of these
Yeah.
is it? Because I think they said there were only 3 or 4 video games produced. One was
there
for
were
the
too
Wii.
many.
What was now the one that was 2014? Why was it awesome? What looked
Well, Platinum
cool?
Games made it, which was incredible. They
Yeah.
do God Hand. They did like
yeah.
Vanquish, Bayonetta.
Okay.
Yeah, Bayonetta.
So big games. Like,
Yeah.
flashy.
They
punch 'em up
had
and-
experience with
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, and that plays like a Platinum game, and it's amazing.
So it's the speed and that you want. So it's kind of like, do you ever play the Dragon Ball Budokai? Those games, I'm like, that was a very good
Yeah.
way to do a fighter game when you're going supersonic speed.
Oh, yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a cool way how they incorporate it. So I'm glad
Well,
to see
and it
that.
was from what I saw anyway, and I've never played any of the Avatar games, but from what I saw, because I went in and I watched a lot of gameplay, they all looked like they were struggling to find what genre they wanted to be.
Oh yeah,
It was like kind of a fighter, but there was also kind of an RTS and kind of a.
You gotta pick a lane.
It just it looked like they weren't
RTS.
quite
back,
sure.
back then you had to pick a lane.
Yeah.
Now we got games that are doing everything.
Maybe RTS
better.
not quite, but it was
Okay.
like it was like this top down. It might have been though, because it looked like they were controlling
Almost like
three
tactic
characters.
style?
Yeah, a little bit. It was, but it looked like they really couldn't decide on a genre or on a graphics engine. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
It's
looking
like,
kind of rough.
We ran out of time and money, so we put them all together.
Right, exactly.
What would you like to see from a game though? If there was
an action RPG,
action RPG,
for sure.
turn based or just like kind of like the new FFs?
Yeah,
with
action
the-
RPG.
yeah, okay.
You're leveling up. You start off. You probably maybe like just born as a new avatar.
Oh, that'd
Okay.
be cool.
Yeah.
And maybe like they can randomize it or some way where you have knowledge of whatever
Yeah.
nation you are.
You
Well,
can
that-
choose your nation at the beginning.
And
if
that
you want.
brings
yeah,
us to the
that's
future
fine.
of the franchise. Then, while we're
Yeah,
here,
we might as well.
While we're
I
here.
mean, I was thinking like if I were to think of what I would want from a video game like that, I think an RPG would be incredible.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it has to be something where you're building out your character,
Yes.
and really giving your character the traits that you want, not just pulling in Ang.
Now
I know it's Ang, everybody.
Now I know it's a group effort in the show. It's that adventurers group. Do the other characters? He meets other benders.
Yes.
Does everyone in his group have powers, or
Not everyone?
Not everyone. Okay, cool.
Sokka is known for not having powers.
Another cool aspect for a game. You have your group.
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
can, customize and do however you want.
You can have one guy that's like, maybe he's
He's the Krillin of the group. He likes to fight, but he doesn't have the Saiyan powers.
right. He's scrappy. He carries a lot of
Little
stuff.
guy, still bald.
Well, Sokka, he has a boomerang sword and he's funny.
Oh yeah, the
He's
boomerang sword.
super funny.
Yes.
That's one thing that I've always thought was really interesting about anime in general. And I mean, do you consider The Last Airbender to be an anime?
I don't.
I wouldn't.
No,
Because
I
I've
don't.
heard a lot of people think that it's only anime if it comes from Japan.
I wouldn't also go. It's not like champagne from France. It's like
Right.
I think there's some gray area with that, but I wouldn't. I don't think this is an anime because I don't think they want it to be an anime.
No.
As soon as you said that Lucasfilm's Dave Filoni is the same guy, I immediately saw the animation style of Resistance and Rebels in Avatar. I was like, oh, duh. It's almost that. Not opposite of cell shading,
right?
Where it's like there are no borders almost.
Right.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Very computer heavy.
I mean, what would you want to
awesome.
see from a video game?
I think an action RPG, like a Kingdom Hearts style, where you have a group, you can customize them. Like I said, not knowing much about the show, I do like the idea of you can choose whichever power you might want to start with, and that can have its perks and
and it could be cool too to have whatever your sort of companion animal is,
right?
And you grow with that throughout the game. Like maybe it starts off as a baby, and by the end it's this full grown behemoth that can help you in battle.
That'd be dope. Or fly you around, have different abilities. In the show, or I'd rather say in the movie, from what I understand, they were always fighting like armies. Were they always other humans they were fighting? Or are they demons?
So there were spirits. They would have
spirits?
some spirits come through, but it was kind of tough. That was more of the Avatars thing.
Yeah,
they could fight spirits, but
deal with that.
It'd be mostly the Fire Nation, pirates, mercenaries.
So it's people.
Oh yeah, mostly.
It was kind of heavy for Nickelodeon. I was just I'm like, you figured it would be like putties, like they make like snow monsters.
Straight up people, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I can't even think of any like creatures that they really fight. I mean, there's because they combine animals in this world. I don't know if you know that.
Oh,
polar bear dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Korra has a polar bear dog, which is beautiful.
That's awesome. Polar bear dog.
That's probably one of the coolest things that it's not even really mentioned with that show. It's just like they combine animals.
Right.
And it's just how it is. That's
it's just how it is. It's just how the world is.
And the spirits, people are aware of them. Not just the avatars are aware of them.
I mean, it's kind of like ghosts to us, where people like believe in ghosts and some
there.
don't. And then but I think it's more of a belief in it. But yeah, I mean, the thing that's like really got me about the show is the bending that they never talked about. Like blood bending they do in it, and they do metal bending.
Interesting.
Lava bending. Like, there's a lot of different bending that they don't talk about.
Do you think the Netflix series? Since we're in the future, what would you like to see from that? Yeah. Do you want it to be the Korra? Do you want it to be the original?
I mean, I heard it's Aang. Yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming they're just gonna really pack in these seasons and just
go
try and do. They're probably gonna do what they initially wanted to do, is do 4 seasons or 5 seasons instead of the 3, because they're all based. It's like the seasons are fire.
Book of Earth, Book of Water, Which was funny on one of the review podcasts I listened to. They're like, this movie started very brazenly with a title card that said Book 1, Water, and you're like, they were really planning on a whole series.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, were any of the they were mistaken, and because they didn't watch the show either. And I don't think any of the show was ever called Book 1. It is.
Every season.
Each season was a book title.
Right.
But I think that's a kind of obscure, a thing to reference, But that's M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
That's
I think M. Night needs to not be handed checks to big movies.
Well, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's good at independent little 6 cents. Keep it tiny.
His last 2 were paid for himself. He paid with his own pocket.
Yeah.
I
haven't seen a lot of his more recent stuff.
Get no K again. He's reining it in.
Yeah,
After this,
and how many seasons was Korra?
4.
4. Okay, so
4 seasons.
Wait, that's longer than.
It is.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting.
You want to know what's cool? Okay, so Zelda Williams was a villain in it.
From Poltergeist?
No, Zelda Williams, like Robin Williams' daughter.
Oh, Zelda Williams. Okay, yes.
No way.
She plays a villain in the 4th season.
That's dope.
What? That's
And
awesome.
Henry Rollins is a voice in the third season.
Henry Rollins.
He's a
Also,
villain.
I got-
He's in everything. Henry
the
Rollins
best
pops up
villain.
in everything.
This is the least timely reference in the galaxy. I realize that I'm about 20 years behind the 8 ball here,
Hit me.
but I had no idea that Robin Williams had a cameo in Friends. I'm watching through Friends right now. And it was incredible. I was so
Oh
happy.
yeah, in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Little
I was
funny
like,
little thing. They're like, hey, he was probably in the studio that day. And they're like,
Yeah.
Definitely.
You want to just ad lib on camera, like,
and you
go
could
for
tell
it.
because I think it was him and Billy Crystal.
Yeah,
And they were just
Playing off each other.
Yep. I was like, man, that's incredible.
Should have been around Hook time.
yeah,
it would have been.
Hook.
Which,
Yeah,
fun
I
fact
agree
for
with you.
Hook, they had to shave his arms in between takes.
Yes, they
Yeah,
did.
Because they would go.
He's like a chia pet.
Yeah.
Also, a fun
R.I.P.
fact about
Robin
that:
Williams.
Julia Roberts demanded to be carried around the set because she was barefoot. So
What?
I'm sure they loved that. But
Anyway,
anyway,
I would-
back to
Avatar.
I would totally do it.
So,
I'll carry you around.
I'll
Julia.
carry you.
so what?
Tinkerbell.
I know we talked like a little bit about it. Like, I mean, would you prefer to see, like, you know, the Netflix series really take off? Would you prefer to see a better live action movie? I mean,
Would you almost like to see Aang maybe starting at the end of what the animated, like going from there?
Ooh, I mean, that would be interesting, but it is also explored a lot in Korra.
Because how old is Aang when he's under like 12 or something?
12 or 11, I think.
Because,
yeah.
and I'm only asking because I know how they do Stranger Things. This next
Right.
season's there is a time jump because
Yes.
you have kids that age.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
worst to
Yeah,
film
yeah.
with. They start aging so rapidly.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, between one season, months, they'd look completely different. So
Right,
that's why I'm wondering
right.
if they'd almost cast like a Tom Holland, like an 18-year-old who
Yeah.
looks small enough, and they can just kind of go with that slightly older.
I think it would even be cool to see. I think anyway, like explore just straight up adult Aang's life, or like even when he's older, like if they found like a cool older actor,
Yeah.
They could even do
explore.
time lapses where you're seeing Aang and then Korra.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
yeah.
Like
That'd be cool.
twin roads sort of situation
Yeah.
and stuff in between that, filler. But yeah, that'd be really. Would you like to see another motion picture, or do you think that we should?
No motion picture.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes. There's
agree.
this is too rich of a world to do a motion picture.
I think it's a
for.
little too late, even in 2015 or 2010.
Yeah.
There's a little past it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do, I think a movie of an animated show, it's got to be within that show's going on or
Right,
of the year
right.
it ends. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. What element would you be?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh gosh, I haven't thought about this. I'm ill prepared.
Really?
Well, from the research I did, Air sounds like they're like the most badass sort of, and like they're like, I don't know. It seemed like they were the mightiest of them all, and I don't know. Yeah, but I would go with Air.
I kind of lean toward water, I think.
Okay.
How about you?
I have to be air as well. Air is I can't spoil Korra for you, but like air is
If you want to
Got to
spoil
be a
Korra,
reason
you
why it's the
can.
most difficult thing for her.
you can fly.
Oh, no. Well, and that's the other thing, too. It's like if somebody's shooting their water at me, I'd be like, air. And just like,
Yeah.
stop the air, stop the fire.
You
Stop,
can't,
know?
like fire
can't
and like
everything,
water
yeah.
kind of like have limitations. Same with earth. Like you can be taken away from these elements, whereas
Right.
in air, I don't
Air's
really
constant.
see.
How
Yeah.
do you stop air without it coming around another way?
Exactly.
Or like,
Right,
Yeah.
right. I just think water would be cool because I picture like
Well, they
making
can do
myself like a
ice,
little
can't they? Can't they control ice?
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about water.
And really, I just want to have cold drinks a
do I know?
lot, so I can just like.
I've never seen the show, and I know
Right,
that the water batteries can
Well,
control ice.
waterbenders can bloodbend as well. Some of
is
them
it
learn,
because
some
of
of
the
them
liquid?
Can, yeah, some of them can learn it.
Now,
yeah.
does that mean I could just be like, bloodbend and like squeeze all the blood out of your body?
It's more
like
like a
pull it up.
puppetry type thing.
Oh, you control people.
Oh,
Because that would be
Yeah.
gross if you could just like pull all the blood out of somebody's
I
body.
want to say
that's
you
not
could,
Nickelodeon.
but they
I'm sure that you
definitely
could,
couldn't
though.
do it. Yeah.
yeah, not a Nicky
That's not a
one.
Nick.
but
I
you
turned all of your blood into dust. That would be crazy.
Hashtag Infinity War.
Yeah, right? Ugh.
Oh man, and that's we gotta do an Avengers Part 2
We will.
very very soon because I have some stuff that I need to talk about. I have feelings, people.
do have-
Get
a lot
some
of
stuff off my chest.
I know I got this next mini-sode. Well, the mini-sode that probably will have come out earlier this week. It's gonna be a hefty one.
bit
We
of a
gotta-
rant, yeah.
It's gonna be a quick 5-minute me ranting and rambling.
But I mean, I think we're kind of at where we're because it's
Yeah.
interesting to have that we've come up on a franchise, especially one that's been kind of like just simmering, kind of chilling for a few
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
and now all of a sudden there's a huge resurgence. We're gonna get this Netflix series, and I
yeah.
think it will be even bigger than
And it just
was.
goes to show you how beloved that series is.
Yeah.
It'll just pump it even more into that light. And I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix then had another animated series that they then put up.
Yeah, I've been waiting for a third one.
Like even if it was like Korra, more Korra or
take
something.
place in like the 40s-ish era,
That would
I
be
think
really
would
cool.
be
Now, are we
incredible.
saying it's like the 20s-esque of Korra? Are they following like, is there a rest of the world that's under the same time frame? Or is it just like, this is a...
It's just mostly the city has the technological advances
Cool.
of the 20s.
Cool. Because everything else, it looks very feudal. They try to go for that, feudal
Kinda,
Japan style. Awesome.
Yeah, usually.
But yeah, it's really cool. We've got stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah. And
Indeed.
thank you so much for coming and being part of this episode.
course.
And, definitely saved our butts as far as the knowledge side of it goes.
Anytime. I'll be your avatar anytime.
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
Well, and we'll definitely have to remote you in for a couple episodes.
Sure.
Out
For
from
sure,
LA. It's nice that you're in town, but
Yes.
man, I miss being out there too, though. It's
beautiful.
Next time I come out to visit, I'll just bring the microphone and we'll do an episode out there.
Yeah, why
Something
not?
like that.
Let's do it.
California. I haven't been there. I was there in 9th grade. It was,
Oh man,
I was
we'll all
14.
go. We'll do a
Yeah.
podcast trip.
Man, I'd love
Yeah,
to do that.
Cali podcast.
But and to all of you listening, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure it helps us out a ton. Make sure that you guys share this episode, that you subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen. And we also have the new YouTube channel, which we do have some content in progress. Apart from just audiograms of the show, we have some content in progress that's going to be coming out. So keep an eye out for that. If you're subscribed and you what is the cool thing? You ding the bell. If you ding the bell, you'll be notified when we start uploading those new videos.
Ding the bell. I was
Ding
like,
the bell.
what is Zach talking
Yeah, no,
about?
it's one of those fancy YouTube terms.
Zach's
the kids
having a
are using.
stroke. I don't know.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be seeing you next week.
Take it easy.
Peace out.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. The next franchise we'll be unpacking is Child's Play. But in the meantime, feel free to drop us a line with any questions, comments, or future episodes at franchiseunpacked@gmail.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, and be sure to share so we can keep these episodes coming your way. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.